What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Rock Fantasy Files. I'm your host, James. Steven can't be here tonight. Neither can Tony Dio. Neither can Ed Farshty. Neither can Miles. Neither can Ovi. Neither can Tony Dio. Did I say Tony Dio already? I don't remember.
Yep.
Neither can Christian because they're all protesting American Eagle Outfitters for having Sydney Sweeney as their model. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. They all hate hot blondes with big boobs. I can't, there's nothing I could do about it. I tried talking to all of them, talking sense into them, and they don't want to hear it. They're out there with signs, picketing. They're walking around and playing Beyonce songs. It's terrible. It's an awful scene.
They all got
So
came down with the summertime blues because of that whole situation. It's giving them the
that's right.
summertime blues.
That's right. They've all got the summertime blues because of Sydney Steele's big boobs. So, Count Ralphus and I are going to entertain y'all tonight with a topic that actually Count Ralphus came up with. We're going to talk about
I
our
inspired
favorite.
I inspired it. I inspired it, but I think Ovi was the one that actually like came up with it. But
That could be. I still feel like you're the one that came up with it, but fair enough. We'll give Ovi credit, even though he might not deserve it. We're going to talk about our favorite summertime jams. That's going to be the name of this episode, Summertime Jams. Albums that we listen to in the summertime or that remind us of summertime. So obviously this is going to be a little bit shorter of an episode. I do have picks ready to go from Christian and Ed, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But I'm going to let Count Ralphus kick this off because this was partially his idea. So, what do you got for summertime jams, man? What are you listening to when it's hot outside?
like the way I inspired like the topic, I guess, is we did an episode not too long ago, and one of my picks was this band Immortal, and I remember this is Battles in the North, and the album covers the two guys out in the middle of the snow, and they have this other album called Blizzard Beasts, and they definitely have like all their videos of them out in the wilderness in the snow and the cold. And I think Keeler said, "Oh, I like listening to that when it's freezing outside," and I was like, "No, you listen to this when it's like a heat wave going on, and this will make you think of the nice cool air." And that kind of inspired. And I said something about watching the movie The Thing. Like, yeah, don't watch that in the middle of
Yes.
winter when it's freezing outside. Watch that in the summertime and make maybe you cool down a little bit in your head or whatever. So yeah, that
Tied
would
to
be
this
like my
fucking couch.
so that would be like my first thing I'd go with is this Immortal. I mean, like we were saying, it's nice, cool music in the summertime. You want to go like album by album back and forth.
Let's do yeah, you know what? Maybe that's a cool way to do it. We'll just go back and forth, being it's just me and you.
All right.
So you went Immortal, and boy, am I gonna go the absolute opposite of what you just picked. This is gonna get some groans. This is gonna get some big groans. So when I was a kid, I went to Catholic school, and from pre-K to eighth grade. And then I remember the summer after eighth grade being so anxious to go to high school because I was going to a public high school. So there was going to be no more like, oh, it's the same kids in every grade and you're going to be in the same. Even though I hated like 85% of the kids I was in class with, it was still comfortable because it was like, well, at least next year, sixth grade, seventh grade, eighth grade, it's the same kids over and over again. It's the same schedule. So I remember that summer being really anxious about going to high school because I was going to go to a public high school with pretty much none of the kids that I went to Catholic school with, and had to learn this whole system and different classes and different floors, and there was two separate buildings. So there was an old, they called it the old building and the new building, and you had to like switch floors in the middle of the day. It's like, all right, math is on the first floor in the old building, science is on the third floor in the new building, gym is on the first floor in the new building, and health is on the second floor in the old building. So I just remember being overwhelmed, and then hearing all the stories of like they called it freshman Friday. When you were a freshman, you got your ass kicked, and just like thinking of like all these terrible scenarios and just not being comfortable. And that summer, my sister gave me some money to go to the record store, and I bought Dookie from Green Day, and I listened to this album every single day, multiple times a day for that entire summer. And it really helped me a lot, man. It was like therapeutic and cathartic and got me through a lot of fucking bad thoughts and got my brain through a lot of shit. I really fucking still dig this album. It's the only Green Day album I still reach for. I remember the one after this coming out. I forget the name of it. That's how unimportant it was. I just was very disappointed with it. The one before it, Kerplunk, is pretty good, but this one just, I still go back to this once in a while, and it just reminds me of that entire summer of 1994. And Burnout's a great one. Long View, of course, that's the big hit off this. Basket Case was the song that made me want this album. When my sister gave me my birthday money that year, I was like, I'm getting the Green Day record because I really like that Basket Case song. It's so good. And she actually the three songs, 7, 8, and 9, Basket Case, She, and Sassafras Roots are my favorite tracks off this. So that's going to be my first pick for summer jams. It was cool going back to albums that, because I really don't bust this out that often, but when I do, it brings back a lot of nostalgic 1994 memories for me. And say what you will in the comments, whatever. I fucking love this. I don't care. It's good, catchy pop punk. There you go.
So I always had a problem with them. It's weird because I shouldn't have hated it so much because I like punk, and my next that made me pick my next band that from what you just said is I'm gonna go with Ramones Mania. And
Nice.
they got like they're like kind of like really they started like punk, but it's also sort of like a pop punk. It definitely influenced Green
Yes.
Day, and it
Oh
had
yeah.
like that Beach Boys kind of feel to it, and it's not like real dark or evil and stuff. It's just fun music.
Absolutely.
But for some reason, I think I had a problem with like bands like Green Day because like they just became like these platinum selling albums, and I couldn't
Yeah.
understand why bands like Ramones didn't have that. I think this was like their only album that ever even went gold in America was Ramones Mania, and it's like a best of compilation. So kind of cheating with picking that one, but it's actually my
Yeah.
first Ramones album I ever did have, and it had a lot of the like really popular songs on it, and it was a great one to start off with. So if you're on the fence with starting off getting into the Ramones, this is a great one to start with. They got a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
compilations, but this was a classic for me. So
Yeah,
Ramones.
that's a fantastic one. That's honestly, that's the only Ramones album I own. And I do go back to it pretty often. That's a fucking great greatest hits.
Yeah, classic.
So I'm gonna go with, I wonder if you've heard of this band, Count Ralph, is Sumerlands.
No,
Let me pull the cover out because we're getting glare on the fucking face. Sumerlands.
I kind of
This
recognize the logo. I've seen that logo before, but yeah, I don't know.
They've got an album before this, and I believe it's just called Sumerlands, but this one's called Dream Killer. So this band is basically, it's Arthur Risk, who has produced Power Trip, He's produced Municipal Waste. He's produced Toxic Holocaust. He actually did the last Soulfly record too. He's kind of like a hotshot producer, but he's also a really fucking killer guitar player. And this album is very kind of glam, like it's got a Rat vibe to it, but there's like also an sort of an epic power metal feel to it as well. Really ripping leads and great vocals on this. Different vocalist than was on the first record. The guy on the first record was the dude who sang for Hour of 13 for all you Doom fans out there. This guy's a different singer, Brendan Radigan, and he's got an awesome kind of high Halfordy King Diamond thing going on. And actually, the bass player just wound up passing away not too long ago. But this is such a fantastic album. It reminds me of like being in the car during the summertime and cruising around. You know, it's got that kind of vibe. It's definitely got 80s glam meets traditional metal vibes going on. Twilight Points the Way is a great opener. I love the song Dream Killer is fantastic title track. And Edge of the Knife is a fucking banger on this one. Really, really good album. If you like Rat and Judas Priest, you should check these guys out, especially this album. The one before it's a little different, a little darker, a little doomier. If you want some like 80s, and it's a little cheese, but it's just good cruising music. Check these guys out. Good drinking album too.
Yeah, something about drinking albums in summertime, like they kind of go together, you know.
Oh
I
yeah.
think every single album I picked out is definitely like a drinking album to me, you know. And this one, it really like hits that spot. So when I was like late teenager, maybe early 20s, we in the town I grew up in, it was like a lot of townhouses and houses close by and stuff. And then on the outskirts of town, we met this guy. We called him Pete the Plant. And he wasn't like a metalhead, but we liked him because he lived on like a field. Like he had all these fields that like there was cornfields and stuff. But he had this one field that nothing was growing. It would just be like high grass, I guess, you know, and he would let us pull in there and have parties. And it was like 5 minutes from our house, but we would be able to like blast music and raise hell. We would start like we'd have little fires out there.
That's
And I
awesome.
remember we would like slam dance. It would be like 10 of us and we would slam dance. And it was like a place where you would come with whatever new cassettes you had. And this is going back like that far, where we were bringing like cassettes out to the party, and it was cool. You're like, oh, what tapes am I going to bring tonight? You know, and you wanted to turn people on. They wanted to turn you on. And I'll never forget just falling in love with this album by the band Black Flag. It's called Who's Got the 10 and a Half. And
Nice.
it's a live album with Henry Rollins was singing. And I just fell in love. It's like a best of because it's a live album. So you're getting songs from like even the albums that Henry didn't sing on and stuff, but you're getting his twist on the songs. And it's just a great rocking partying album, a lot of fun to drink to. And we would just get drunk as hell out in that field and blast this. And I wanted to hear this every time we went there. Like I think of this album more than any other album, but we used to play Slayer out there and all the heavy stuff that was going on. But we are finding a lot of the crossover bands and some of the hardcore punk bands and stuff. But this, I remember the guy who bring this, he gave me the cassette, but he didn't give it to me with a cover or nothing. He knew I loved it so much. So one day he just was like all drunk and he's like, just have it, you know. I was like, oh. And eventually I found it on vinyl. I got this signed by the guitar player, Greg Ginn. But yeah,
Nice.
just whenever I even look at this album cover inside, I just think of those field parties. And it's totally a summertime memory because of that, you know.
Isn't it great how music does that shit for you? It just takes you
Yeah.
back to a fucking very specific moment in time. Every time you put a record on, it's like, fuck, that's what I was doing when I first heard it. It's like immediate.
And especially like this subject, because it's like, okay, like, are you thinking of songs that have summertime in the song title or something like that? Like,
Right.
what comes to your mind? But really, that's what it is. It's like it brings you to summer, and you remember maybe that one year, that summer was that was the album of the summer where everybody was playing it, you were hearing it everywhere you went. And I got a few picks like that I'll be pulling out, you know.
Definitely. So I got another more recent-ish one. I'm going to take the cover out of the case because I keep getting glare. The Night Flight Orchestra. This album is Sometimes the World Ain't Enough. And this is basically a Soilwork side project where it's the singer from Soilwork and one of the guitar players. And I also believe, yeah, Charlie D'Angelo from Merciful Fate and Arch Enemy plays bass in this
Oh, wow.
band. Really good stuff, really different from anything you would expect that lineup to put out. It's very like album oriented rock. It's kind of Foreigner, Journey, 80s, like, hard rock radio 80s sort of stuff going on. It's maybe even a little dancey and poppy in parts, but it's just so well written. Um, they have a couple other albums that I have that I like, but I love this one because every track on it is just a fucking, it's a banger, as the kids would say. I really like Turn to Miami. Paralyzed is a fantastic song. The title track, Sometimes the World Ain't Enough, is great. Can't Be That Bad is a great one. Pretty Thing Closing In is such a good song. It's just so catchy and it's full of earworms. It gets in your head and it doesn't leave. It almost has 80s MTV band vibes, which your boy loves that because that's what I grew up on. And yeah, and Speed from Soilwork sounds great singing on these songs, man. He's got a fantastic melodic singing voice. I really got into this one big like 3 years ago, out of nowhere, just sitting up drinking one night and flicking through YouTube and went, oh yeah, here's this thing that the dude from Soilwork does. Let me check his fucking other band out. And this really clicked with me immediately. Fantastic album. It just sounds like summertime. It's another album like that Sumerlands one I was just showing off that sounds like cruising around at night in the hot summer night, fucking just smoking weed and fucking digging some classic AOR. It's good stuff. Sometimes the world ain't enough.
Yeah, Charlie D'Angelo is a fucking excellent bass player. I got to hang
Yes,
out
he
with
is.
him once after a Merciful Fate show at the Chance, and I got to hang out with him and Mike Weed. I got pictures
That's
with him, but I
cool.
seen him in Arch Enemy, and I wasn't even into his. I believe he was in the band Witchery. Was like his first band that kind of put him
Yes.
on the map. Maybe not his first. That guy seems to be in so much shit, but definitely worth checking out if he's in it. You know.
Yeah, Witchery is cool too.
All right, so this one, another like kind of a weird one. It's definitely upbeat, fun stuff. The Reverend Horton Heat. This is my first one
Oh
I ever
yeah.
got the full custom gospel sounds of Reverend Horton Heat, and smoke them if you got them. I mean, they got songs about eat steak, and even, I'm wearing the shirt. There's a barbecue on the shirt. It's the devil barbecuing. There's a cow, and he got a steak on there. But it's
That's
just like
awesome.
it's perfect drinking barbecue music. It's just fun, lighthearted.
Yeah.
It's not evil or nothing. But I just something about the fun, upbeat party drinking music. So they're definitely one of those bands, and my wife loves them. So it's one of those bands like we could both enjoy like when we're hanging out drinking and barbecuing or camping and stuff. So yeah, Reverend
That's
Horton, he'd seen him live a bunch of times, and one of the best times we've seen him is we did a boat ride around Manhattan. They do those rocks off cruises, and it
right.
was just awesome. It was like in the summertime, and they're playing in the inside of the ship, and then you go out on the deck, and people are smoking out there and stuff, and go back and forth. And there was other bands that day, but it's like a few hours out going around the Statue of Liberty with Reverend Horton Heat. I did that a few times with other bands too. I seen like Goat Whore and I Hate God and a bunch of
Nice.
bands played that day on the boat. And then I went to another one. I seen Jello Biafra from the Dead Kennedys, his band, Guantanamo Bay School of Medicine. And it's always fun doing those. There's another one coming up right now with one of the bands that I'll be bringing up, but I'll save that for then.
Nice. Yeah, I saw the Reverend once open for the Misfits at the Chance
I was at that one.
2012, something like that. 2011, 2012, I think.
I'm a huge Misfits fan, but I went to that show because Reverend Horton Heat was on the bill. Because at that point, it was the Misfits fronted by Jerry Only, and I
Yes.
had seen the Misfits so many times throughout the years that at that point I was like, but of course I stuck around for it. I actually got a picture. I was around the back, and Jim Heath, the guitar player singer from Reverend Horton Heat, he was outside with Jerry, and I got a picture of them two talking. Like, I think they were just meeting, like they might have just showed up for it, like first time running into each other that night because they weren't on tour together. It was like a one-off show that
Yeah.
they did. And a lot of the punk bands seem to be real big fans of like I've seen video of Jello Biafra from Dead Kennedy singing for Reverend Horton Heat for a song, and I seen
Right.
Reverend Horton Heat do a Dead Kennedy song. Motorhead loved Reverend Horton Heat, and they did tour with Motorhead, and yeah, they're just like a lot of people like them. Like I'm not like a huge rockabilly fan. There's like a handful, tiny handful. I like the Cramps and I like Reverend Horton Heat. I like
Yeah.
Stray Cats, but I don't like their lyrics. Their lyrics are boring to me. With Reverend Horton Heat and the Cramps, they got more like the crazy lyrics that I like. So
Right. Yeah, that's cool. It's martini time.
yeah, it's a great one.
So this one's also a little more recent one, and they're from Canada. Monster Truck. This is a killer album. It's called Sitting Heavy. These guys have a few albums out, but this is definitely my favorite. And this one just screams summertime. This is like perfect. And if you listen to these dudes, you wouldn't believe that they were from Canada because they sound like they're from like Alabama or Florida or Texas or something. Total Southern rock vibes with like deep purpleness going on in it too, because they have a keyboard player and he's very influenced by John Lord. There is not a bad moment on this one, man. I really love Don't Tell Me How to Live. That's the big kind of quote unquote hit off this record. It was the main single, and the singer sounds so much like Chris Cornell. He doesn't hit the big gigantic highs, but he's got that Chris Cornellish voice. She's a Witch is a great one on here. Things Get Better, such a goddamn good song that you can relate to too. It's yeah, when you're having bad days, I got a feeling things get worse before they get better. You just relate to it so much. It's so Southern Rocky. And Enjoy the Time is a great way to fucking close this one out. Very Leonard Skinnerdy. Great band that you should check out if you're into Skinner, Deep Purple, Black Sabbath, Soundgarden. These guys are perfect for sitting on the porch with a bucket full of ice cold beers and you just crank this up and just chill in the summertime, rocking out to this. Fantastic. They sound like they came out of the 70s, but this record is from 2016. It's really fucking good. Check these guys out. Monster Truck are great. Good Canada music. That's for Denny. I wonder if he knows who these guys are.
And there, just the name Monster Truck, that sounds like a summer activity because you're not going to see monster trucks in the winter, so that's
Yeah,
something you would see
exactly.
in the summertime.
Exactly.
All right, so one of the band I was just thinking about is like the band coming up is Jimmy Gestapo from Murphy's Law. He's got his birthday coming up, and he does the rocks off cruise around Manhattan, and they got a show coming up around. So I pulled out my Murphy's Law. This has got the first album in Back with the Bong. I
Nice.
should have pulled this out on vinyl, but the problem is so I went to see Murphy's Law at the Loft one time, and afterwards, I bring my vinyl up there and I got him to sign it. And I already had the original guitar player sign it. And he did the artwork. He was actually in my house one day. Somebody brought him over in my house, and I was like, "Oh shit, you drew that album cover?" And I had him sign it and everything. So then I go, "I gotta get Jimmy to sign this at a Murphy's Law show." I've seen them a million times. Murphy's Law. They're a New York City hardcore legendary band, so they've always played the area. They played the Chance a million times. Seen them all over the place. My first hardcore show I ever went to. They sing about smoking weed and drinking, so many songs. They got a song called Crucial Barbecue, which really makes me think of like summertime, you know. And but the thing is like I also had this cool book. It was called Making of a Scene. And it was like old pictures of the New York hardcore CBGB scene. And it was like a first edition of this book. You can find it now, like a newer edition of it, but I had like an original edition of it. So I bring that up there that night too, and I got him to sign both of it. And on the book, he wrote like a big long thing, and then on my album cover, he didn't like the guitar player no more that used to be on the album. So like he wrote like this whole thing about him on it, and it was like funny. I can't even remember exactly what he said because I was drinking and shit. So after the show, we're hanging out, saying goodbye to everybody, like out in the parking lot. And I put the album and the book on top of the car, and I'm still out there drinking like an idiot and just getting plastered. And said goodbye to my friends, and then I jump in the car and we take off. I get home and I look in the car for my album and my book, and I never took it off the fucking roof of the car. So
Oh,
it probably landed right in the parking lot, and somebody, hopefully it wasn't all smashed, and somebody just said, "Oh, look at this, an autographed fucking." But it was cool because he had written like this big long thing on it and everything, and it just killed me
yeah.
that I fucking that was such a stoner fucking boner, you know. But
Ah.
yeah, Murphy's Law though, great summertime drinking party band. Love these guys.
So you said seeing them at the Loft. Did you see them at the Loft when I played a show with the Misfits, Jerry Only Misfits, where it was Misfits downstairs and Murphy's Law upstairs in the
Yep.
Loft, and
Yeah.
everybody was going back and forth.
Yeah. It's awesome. Yep. I was at that one.
So
I
that was
I was
that
at
night
every.
that you got your thing signed.
Oh, I'm not. I forget the exact night, but it was a night at the Loft, and I mean, the first bunch of times I see Murphy's Law, they were downstairs on the big stage because the Loft wasn't even a thing back in the '80s when I would see them there. But I seen them a couple times, I believe, up at the Loft because they did another one like that too, where it was Cro-Mags played downstairs and Murphy's Law played upstairs. So it might have been that show. I forget the exact show, but I was definitely at that one with the Misfits too, though, because I seen
Yeah,
the Misfits every time they played up there.
yeah.
I didn't miss any of those, and I seen Murphy's Law pretty much almost every time they played. They played so often, I might have missed a couple, but I seen some crazy shows up there, and they did this one show up at a place. It was called Arrowhead Ranch, and it was upstate New York, really far up by like Liberty. And it was just like a weekend of camping, and it was like all these bands were playing, and it was a big pot, like a fest, and it was like everybody was just smoking pot like crazy. And this is years ago when it was super illegal, you know. And I
Yeah.
remember Murphy's Law was the only band out of all these bands that were playing for like 2 days up there. They were the only band I even cared about. But we went up there with a bunch of friends and we camped. I bring my dog up there. We took acid and stuff. I remember when Murphy's Law was playing, we rolled a big joint and then we went right up to the front row and gave it to him, and he's smoking it and passing it around to the guys in the band and stuff, you know. And I gotten to hang out and smoke with him a few times. Always super like approachable and just cool as hell. He's such a cool, funny guy. One of the funniest guys in music. Like you think of Ozzy being like a hilarious guy, like Jimmy from Murphy's Law is like that too. He's like this tough, hardcore guy, but he's like a fucking comedian. He's fucking great,
Yeah,
you know.
definitely. That's awesome. So I'm going to keep it in the punk category. A lot of people would say that this isn't punk. To me, it sounds like punk. To me, there's a song or two on here that could pass off as thrash metal. Um, Summer of '95. This was a big fucking album for me. Offspring smash. I really, really love every second of music on this. There's not one bad riff, not one bad lyric line, not one bad bass line. The bass on this is so goddamn good. Um, I love how it starts with the time to relax a little bit, and then it kind of ends with that too. And Nitro Youth Energy is so good. Bad Habit is a great song about kind of road rage before road rage was really a thing. Gotta Get Away is great. Something to Believe in. The big hits on here, Come Out and Play, Self Esteem were both very good too. Self Esteem is what made me buy this album. I remember summer '95 when that came out, and I was like, I have to get this album. Really relate to the lyrics a lot. Killboy Powerhead, so good. And What Happened to You is actually a really cool, not a big ska guy, but it's a ska song about like drug addiction. And it's just like the lyrics are so dark, but the music is so like big and uplifting and happy. It's actually a pretty fucking cool song. So I really like this one a lot. I know I might get murdered in the comments. It's not punk. Fair enough. Cool. It was cool to me in summer of '95, and it still is. I still go back to this one. I pull this one out a lot more frequently than Dookie, and I just really love the bass on it and really love the songwriting. It's fucking catchy as hell. There's great riffs in here, man. Really great riffs. So there's another one of mine that's gonna get some
It,
groans,
it's
but
it,
fair enough.
it's funny. It's funny that you bring them up right after I did Murphy's Law because I remember, I think the song "Come Out and Play." Maybe it was like the really big song, right?
Oh yeah,
And
that's the one.
I just remember an interview with Jimmy from Murphy's Law, and they said, "Does it make you mad that the Offspring has this like platinum selling song where they rip off your riff from Panty Raid?" He goes, "Nah, it doesn't bother me." He goes, "That shit happens all the time." He goes, "What bothers me is that I hear it every fucking where I go." He's like, it didn't bother him that because that does happen. Maybe they never heard the Murphy's Law song. They probably didn't. It just happens that
Right.
somebody comes up with a riff and it sounds exactly like. I mean, the way the melody goes with the singing and stuff that changes it. But once he said it, I was like, oh yeah, that's the riff from fucking Panty Raid. I'm pretty sure it's that song. Come Out and Play. But it's just funny because I just remember that interview and him being like, "Yeah, whatever." I just wish I didn't have to hear it everywhere I fucking went because I remember that was like a big song. It was like everywhere.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All over MTV and FM radio. I
Yeah.
actually didn't know that was a thing. I'm gonna have to go look that fucking Murphy's Law song up.
Oh yeah, that's on their second album, Back with a Bong. And they had a
Okay.
video. They did have a video for it. Yeah, my dog just banged into my fucking shit. Um, yeah, uh I'm pretty did they have a video for that song? No, maybe it wasn't for that. They had a song Quest for Herb they had a video for, but it didn't ever get played on MTV. It got used to get played on Night Flight and stuff. But
Ah.
I'll do I'm gonna do Motorhead next. I pulled out No Remorse. I know it's hard to see now. I'll put the light back on in a second, but I figured go with this one because it's like a best of, and it just has all the greatest songs on here. And this is another one that used to get played at those field parties, like I was singing, telling about before. Motorhead was a band that everybody liked. The punks liked them, the hardcore guys liked them, and the
Yep.
thrashers liked them. So they appealed to everybody, and they had a lot of fun drinking songs. And you want to sing along to Iron Fist and Ace of Spades and all that stuff. It was just great rocking, fun music. So yeah,
Absolutely.
Motorhead's definitely like one of my summertime field party bands.
Definitely. Fantastic pick. Fantastic pick. So I am gonna go with a band that I discovered in the summer uh, of 1990. I'm gonna guess 1993 is when I first heard Biohazard. I remember a buddy of mine found 89.5 WSOU on the radio, and he decided to put a blank tape in and record a couple songs. And a couple of the songs that he played for me that really kicked my ass were Pantera This Love and Biohazard Punishment. And as soon as I heard those two songs, I was like, I need those albums. immediately in my life because those songs were so good. I think I wound up getting Biohazard first. It was down the street at the record store, and I think I ripped off Columbia House for Pantera, Vulgar Display of Power. So that took a little time to get to me, but I got this one first, and oh man, it just reminds me of summertime in New York. It's got that whole dirty street stomping fucking vibe to it. Chamber Spins 3 is a fantastic way to kick an album off. Great song. Everybody knows Punishment if you know Biohazard. That's kind of one of the big fucking deal songs. Black and White and Red All Over is fantastic. The title track, Urban Discipline, I love so much. I really love the cover of We're Gonna Die from Our Own Arrogance from Bad Religion. Fantastic. This is just, there's nothing bad about this. Great riffs, great drumming. I like the kind of interweaving of hardcore, thrash, and hip hop going on in it. I know that might get some groans, but look, I'm from fucking Ossining, New York, and I'm of a certain age where everybody around me, except for like three other people, were listening to hip hop, and that's all they were listening to. I was one of the kids that was the weird kid because I liked metal. So hip hop just, it became a thing where it's like you gotta like something out of it. And I kind of liked bands that threw it in, man, because it's like, ah, fuck you, we could do that too. And Biohazard was one of those bands that's, hey, fuck you, we could do that too. And they did it well as far as I'm concerned. And this is the one for me, my top favorite Biohazard album, and just always reminds me of summer because I got it in the summertime and played it to absolute death. And I still do. Fantastic record.
I have lots of crazy stories about them that I don't really tell because they're just crazy. But Biohazard was a band. I seen them before they even had an album out. I seen them open up for Carnivore at L'Amour's in Brooklyn with Sheer Terror. It was Biohazard, this band Toxemia, who later were the guys from Typo Negative, and
Oh
then
shit.
Sheer Terror, and then Carnivore. And it was called Negative Night. It's a legendary show. There was fights just nonstop. And I thought Biohazard was great that night. And then Biohazard just started getting on every fucking bill. They were the Brooklyn band. They were the Brooklyn home band, it seemed. And every time you went to the city for a show, Biohazard was on the bill. I went to see Dark Angel and Excel, and Biohazard was on the bill. I went to see Coroner, and Biohazard's on the bill. Like they would just mix them in with every thrash band. But the problem is they had this crew that went around to every show with them, the DMS guys, and they would just start fucking fights with every long hair in the place, and every time it just ruined shows. I had friends that stopped going to the shows, like in general, for years because of the violence that came into the scene at around the early '90s there with really every time Biohazard was on the bill, we knew there was going to be fights and stuff. And I've seen them so many times because they just kept getting put on bills and stuff. And I had problems more with their whole like scene than I did with like their music or anything. But I like the video for Punishment and stuff. And I used to
Yeah,
see all those same guys that are in the video, like all their crew at all the shows, like, get into fight after fight. And a lot of those guys went on to other bands and stuff. But something a little happier is I'm gonna go Kiss Double Platinum. I was thinking Kiss Alive 2. It's the first album I ever asked for my parents, but this is a great one because it's just another one of those cheating ones where I'm just picking like a best of because it's like you put this on and you could party for an hour straight with just nothing but classics Kiss songs, and they're just such a fun party band, rocking fun summertime music, and really the band of my childhood more than anything when I was really young, before I started partying. But I put it on today when I'm drinking sometimes. It's still such a fun album to go to, and you can't lose with that one.
absolutely. Fuck yeah, I love Kiss. And it's funny, Kiss really is a favorite drinking band of mine too. and they're like, half the band doesn't fucking care to drink.
And then, but then Gene Simmons singing Cold Gin, and it's
Right,
like, even though Ace wrote that song, but it was before Ace wanted to sing anything. He wasn't into being a singer. So Gene was like,
right.
I'll sing it. And Gene probably likes Cold Gin as far as like getting the girls all drunk and then he can bang them. So he liked Cold Gin in that way, but he just didn't like to actually drink it himself.
Absolutely. Yeah, I left Kiss off of mine. I also left Van Halen off of mine because I felt like, first of all, I thought we were going to have a few more fucking panel members. And I figured everybody was going to pick Van Halen for summertime jams because
The
how can
first
you
band I
not?
thought of. It was the very first band I thought of when we thought. I'm wearing the hat because I was thinking that's the number one band I was thinking of.
Absolutely. And my thing was, I can't just pick one Van Halen album. I could pick,
I didn't pull any out.
yeah, my whole 10 could have been from the first album to Balance. It could have been all 10 of those Van Halen albums. So I love
I would have been
all,
1984 and down would have been me. 1980, all the David Lee
right.
Roth stuff, even A Different Kind of Truth though would be one of my more recent like summer Van Halen albums though, because that
Yeah, it's a
I would
great one too.
include that even in there with it.
Absolutely. That's a great one too. But instead of Van Halen, I'm going with fucking glare on the goddamn case. Motley Crue, Too Fast for Love. So tomorrow, well, I don't know when this is going to get uploaded, but as far as me and Ralph are concerned, tomorrow is going to be 21 years since me and my girlfriend met each other. And I got her into hard rock and metal, showing her the first two Motley Crue albums. So that whole summer, that entire August, her and I would fucking cruise around in her car. She had a little blue fucking Daewoo car. I don't know if you remember that fucking company that used to make air conditioners, also made cars. Not for very long because they were shit cars. But we would drive around, going out to dinner, going out to the mall, going to the movies, and just absolutely cranking this full volume. And I got her into it, and I loved it so much. And it became Too Fast for Love and Shout at the Devil. Like, I can't listen to either album without thinking about my girlfriend. Like, it just reminds me of that entire summer of us first meeting each other and getting along and getting to know each other. So, this is a very sentimental one for me. Um, Funny enough, my girlfriend went to New York City not long after we got together, and she met Tommy Lee. He put out his Tommyland book, and he was doing a book signing, and I didn't go. I did the adult thing, and I went to work. And she went to New York City with a buddy of mine and got my Too Fast for Love sign. And I still regret that to this day that I didn't go down to fucking Barnes and Noble in New York City with my old lady and meet Tommy Lee because that was fucking dumb. Because that job lasted, the job I was working at lasted maybe 3 more months after that. It was fucking useless. But, anyways, I'm going off into my own personal shit. Great summertime album, Too Fast for Love. 10 out of 10. Not a bad moment on this. Love the title track. I love On With the Show. I love Piece of Your Action. Take Me to the Top. Public Enemy #1 is my favorite Motley Crue song of all time. And of course, the opener, Live Wire, is just disgusting. That riff fucking rips faces. It's amazing. There you go.
So yeah, believe it or not, I loved the first two Motley Crue albums when I was a kid, and I thought of them as like a summertime. Like when I was 13, 1983, that Shout at the Devil was like the biggest album. It was like every magazine was. It's just you couldn't get away from it, and it definitely was like my friend had a fort, and we used to have these fort parties when I was that young, before we moved up to the field parties as we got older. But he had built a fort in his backyard, and his parents let him have kids over there. And they liked the idea that we were all drinking or whatever at his house, not out and getting in trouble and stuff. So he had wires going in there to play music and stuff, and we would rock out. So I would listen to so many, like the Van Halen, and even like Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, Screaming for Vengeance, and that especially Shout at the Devil more than the first Motley Crue album. But I love both of those albums, and I was there day one when Theater of Pain came out, and I remember getting it that day, but looking at the back and going, "Oh, what's going on here?" Like it didn't look like metal anymore. They were looking like Poison, or like before Poison, but and it was
Yeah,
like I just was so let down. I remember at the time, but I still like played the album as much. When you're a kid, you only have so much money, so I played it as much as I could. But that's where like right after 1984 is when I started finding Metallica and stuff like that. And that's where everything changed. So I did like some of the glam metal stuff leading up to that. It's like you can see a line drawn in my collection where it's like 1984. You don't see any Dokken or anything like that coming in my collection after that. And then at one point,
right.
I had like 30 albums that I gave to a girlfriend at the time because I became such a thrasher that I was embarrassed to have this in my album collection. And I gave away like the first Rad EP and stuff like that. And that shit's
Oh,
worth like a ton of money now. Like I totally regret it. It was so stupid to just give it away. And I was like, I should have fucking
yeah.
kept all that shit. But so here's a band that kind of falls right in that time. Is I figured if Tony was here, and actually Ed of all people bring these guys up to one of the last episodes, is Y&T.
There you go.
And they're
Yeah.
they're very very much like, to me they were like the
Mean
Van
Streak is
Halen.
shit.
Yeah, they were like Van Halen to me. They had the summertime song with the summertime girls and stuff. But I remember the
Yes.
video used to get played all the time. But I really like the earlier stuff where they were just like a straight up like heavy kind of Van Halen, but it always had like that like lighter side to them, and it was like partying kind of music. And I just always felt like they were super underrated band. They should have been a lot bigger, and they were very influential to so many bands that came later. I mean, like Van Halen used to open up for them, when
Yeah,
because Y&T was already putting out albums before that first Van Halen album when they were called Yesterday and Today and stuff. And
that's right.
there's definitely like, Van Halen and Y&T, they both come to mind when I think of summertime. And back in that time, that was like 83 or so when that album came out. And I totally get like that old summertime feeling from that shit.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I forgot about Y&T, man. Black Panther and fucking Mean Streak. Both of those albums together, man. I love that stuff.
Yeah, Black Tiger, right?
Yeah, Black Tiger, that's it.
Yeah, Mean Streak.
So this is a weird one, kind of. Maybe. Maybe it won't be for some of you. But Alice in Chains Unplugged. This reminds me of summer because this was an album, and we've talked about ripping off BMG and Columbia House in several episodes. This was an album that I got in a giant box of CDs where I gave a fake name. I think I might have gave like James Hetfield or something to come to my house with 12 CDs for a penny. And this was one of them. And I remember it was dead middle of summer. It was right before my birthday. And opening the box up, and I opened this one up first and put it on. And boy, did this blow my goddamn mind, man. This is a fantastic unplugged performance. Definitely my favorite unplugged performance of all time. I love the Kiss one too. I love the Nirvana one as well. I think the Nirvana one is probably Kurt Cobain's best performance. But this Alice in Chains Unplugged is so haunting and dark, and it really is kind of fucking heavy for an acoustic unplugged thing. This entire set is fantastic too, man. It's the first time they played live together in 2 years, and it sounds like they never missed a step. Brother is fantastic on here. Sludge Factory. I There's a lot of tunes on here that I like the unplugged version more than the album version. And Sludge Factory is definitely one of those. Down in a Hole on here is fantastic. Got Me Wrong is so good. And Over Now. I really love Over Now on this. I like it more than the album version with the three-legged dog. This is just a non-stop great unplugged album. It's so dark and heavy. And this just reminds me of that summer that I probably in summer of 97 that I got this. I remember it was out for a while and just like, oh yeah, I don't have that one yet. And just reminds me of that summer walking back and forth to this chick's house that I was like kind of into and hanging out with and playing it for her and trying to get her into it and stuff. And yeah, it just reminds me of that summer. Fantastic album, man. For me, the best on MTV Unplugged of all time.
I got two quick summer stories about them. Is that so they get on this tour. It's a famous tour. It's called Clash of the Titans tour, and it comes right into Middletown, and it's at our fairgrounds. It's Anthrax, Megadeth, and Slayer, and then some new band called Alice in Chains is opening the show, and we're like, who the fuck is that? What a stupid name. Like there's so many millions of thrash bands we thought should have been on that bill. It didn't make no sense that some unknown band got on the bill. We had no idea. So me and my friends drank in the parking lot. We didn't go in. Had no idea who they were. I was like, I tell that to diehard Alice in Chains fans, and they're like, how the fuck would you miss that? But we thought the name was stupid. We were thrashers, and we did Alice in Chains. What the fuck was that? We didn't know if there was a girl singing or what. And then right like close to that time, every time Alice in Chains gets brought up on the show, Keeler will tell you about how they did an in-store at Rock Fantasy, and then they played this
Yes.
little tiny place called the Class, and I had no interest in them still. I think their video just started getting played on like MTV and stuff, and and I think they packed it in that little club, but still they're playing this little tiny place because they're not famous enough. But then I ended up seeing them like a year or two later where when they were huge, and it was at one of those Lollapaloozas. I went to a couple of them, and both of the ones I went to was like 100 degrees out. It's total summertime. So all of those bands that played on that, I think I went for like Ministry at the time or Primus or something, but like we would sit through the whole day, like and catch like one or two bands that were but I ended up seeing like Red Hot Chili Peppers and Pearl Jam and Soundgarden and all these bands that like I usually would never been going out to see, but I ended up catching most. I didn't see Nirvana, but I seen the other big ones of that scene. But just a little bit of summer related. Uh, but here's another one, like talking about the festivals in the summer. So I grabbed the Nazi album. I figured we didn't talk about this when we did our ranking, so I pulled it out for this one. The
Yeah.
tribute album, but Ozzy with all the Ozfest that it's summer for like 10 years. It was like, here comes Ozfest, who's going, which one we're gonna catch, and they were always hot as hell. Like I don't think it was ever one where it was like raining and it was like always like 100. I remember one of those house fests was so hot, they had like a sprinkler system, and you would go in between bands and like just stand under there for a few seconds and get completely drenched. And by the time you got back to your spot, you were like dry again. Like it was so hot that day. Like the only way to stay alive is to keep going underneath this like shower and keep getting wet. But yeah, those summertime Ozfest, they were amazing, and they really rejuvenated metal in the 2000s and stuff. And such important those festivals were. And thank God for Ozzy and Sharon for doing all of them and keeping metal alive for the 2000s.
Absolutely. So we got a special guest. Tony Dio is
Hey.
back from his protest at American Eagle Outfitters. I know he was very outraged about the Sydney Sweeney ad. So he made it back first, and his audio is not on, so I can continue talking shit about Tony Dio, not liking Sydney Sweeney and going after American Eagle Outfitters, while he just sits there and just kind of shakes his head back and forth like a mime and He can't figure it out. There is like a little microphone icon with a line through it that he can click. Uh, just having problems tonight. Problems with the technology. You guys and you old guys in the technology can't get it figured out.
You think he would be a pro by now? He's on like 6 different channels.
He's definitely a pro, but he's not a pro at Zoom. Still can't hear you, Tony. I wish it was like John Cena where he couldn't see you either. Uh, all right. So I guess while Tony gets his shit figured out, I will go on to my next album, which I'm wearing the t-shirt. The first Hell Yeah album really reminds me of summertime. I got this day came out. I don't know if it came out in the summer, but it definitely became a soundtrack of that summer of 2007 for me because it was an album I just played over and over and over again. Reminds me of being at barbecues at a buddy's house and just cranking it and hitting the repeat button, grilling burgers, fucking coolers of cold beer and Jägermeister, and just having great, crazy nights, getting drunk. And that's what this album is, man. It's just a party metal record. And it's a super group. You got Vinnie Paul from Pantera, and you got the singer and guitar player from Mudvayne. You got the bass player and guitar player from Nothing Face. It's a fantastic record. Um, I love every second of music on this. The opener, Hell Yeah, is fantastic. You Wouldn't Know was a great song. I really love Alcohol and Ass is my favorite track on this, which you can guess is about getting drunk and fucking, which is perfect for the summer. In the Mood's a great one, and I really love Thank You, which is a song that is dedicated to Dimebag Darrell appropriately and is a fantastic tune. I really love. I like all the Hell Yeah records, but this one's my absolute favorite. I go back to it all the time, and it totally reminds me of summer.
Can you hear me at all now?
I can hear you now.
Yep,
Okay.
yep. We
So it wasn't the Zoom mic, it's the mic. So I sent this computer off to be worked on, and the guy had to put, if you're familiar with Linux running operating systems, I had to redo the whole thing. So it's a lot of stuff that's not on, some stuff's not working. I couldn't log into Zoom through through the web browsers. I had to go in through an app, but hopefully it's good to go.
Now, here's the important question. All the porn you had stored in the computer, is it still there?
That's on the other computer. This
All
is
right,
a
good.
work computer. Yeah.
Excellent. So
Yeah.
this is the good boy computer, and you
This
got
is
all
the
the
good
good stuff
boy.
on the bad boy computer.
That's it. That's it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, so Ralph and I think we're down to one album each, aren't we?
yeah, we're almost done. I had a couple extras.
We're down to one
Like
album each, so let's let Tony get fucking caught up, and
I'll
then we'll
just go.
do our number
I'll
ones
just
together.
flip through. I'll just flip through a bunch of stuff.
That's
yeah,
cool,
you could.
but take your
It's
time,
only
though,
us three.
man.
It's
I
only
mean,
us three. You could take your time
Yeah.
to.
yeah,
If
take your time.
there's a reason why it's a summertime album to you, let us know. You
Yeah.
know.
Well, okay. Well, I'm going to think about, summertime albums. A lot of times, growing up as a kid, I had 8 tracks. I got 8 tracks here. Of course, this is my all-time favorite record of all time, Rock and Roll Over. It makes me think of summer because I got it in the summer of '76. So I'm pretty sure I think it was the summer or maybe late summer. But anyhow, uh, love it. Love this album. So many great songs on it.
Baby Driver.
I picked double
David Drive.
platinum, Tony. I pulled double
Oh yeah.
platinum out for my Kiss album.
Any '70s Kiss is summer records. You
Yeah.
can't have summer without Van Halen. You got Van Halen 2. my favorite Van Halen record. And you have the song Beautiful Girls on here about being out on the beach watching the beautiful girls, right?
Yes.
Um, we have a couple of versions of this. I pulled it out. I pulled out a bunch of CDs here. I got Escape by Journey. I got it on 8-track as
Good.
well. Um, yeah, this one definitely takes you back to just, being hanging out with your friends in the summer. I remember we used to do we go out and we like go to amusement park, play putt putt and stuff, and always Journey was always like playing on the radio and stuff. But the song on here that really makes me think of summertime is Stoned in Love. Just a cool kind of hard rocking song for Journey.
Yeah.
Um, go through sticking with that type of stuff, Journey. How about everybody's working for the weekend
Ah, there you
from
go. Love that one.
Loverboy, which was my first concert. Actually, it was a tour after this in '83. But yeah, that's a great summertime tune. I also think of Wild Eyed Southern Boys from 38
38
Special.
special.
Makes me think of summertime. Um, Hot Blooded from Foreigner, another one.
Woo.
Great summertime song.
Yeah.
Um, Pretty much everything on this record makes you think of summertime, the first Boston record.
There you
I
go.
mean,
That's a good one.
yeah, I mean, everything on there, it's just got that, it's kind of like, it's just sunshine. It's just bright. I threw Black and Blue's second album. We can talk about hair bands tonight. So we got Black and Blue. They got a song here called Nature of the Beach. Not the
Ah,
beast, but the beach. And it's
is
good,
Tommy
good
Thayer on that one?
song. And I was thinking of songs. I was like, this one song that stuck in my head as soon as you start talking about this. There's a song, Crazy Summer Days. It's on a Blackfoot record called Vertical Smiles, which was a very commercial record for them, but it's this song about summertime. And
Yeah.
actually, if you tune in to Almost Human tomorrow night, we're going to be interviewing Jackson Spire. I mean, not Jackson. Excuse me. Can't interview Jackson.
Craig
He's
T.
passed.
Walker.
Greg T. Walker. I'm sitting here looking at the back of the thing. I look at Jackson Spires, but Greg T. Walker is going to be with us. We can't interview Jackson. I wish we could, but he's long gone. But yeah, man, that's a cool record. I got to talk to him about that. That's when they were kind of going commercial. And let's see, what else have I got here? Oh, you can't have summertime without There Ain't No Cure for the Summertime Blues. Did any of you
Okay.
guys pull that? Blue Cheer?
No,
No, we didn't take Blue Cheer out.
Yeah,
we were
man.
thinking about you guys having the summertime blues because a couple of his had canceled. So we were saying that he's had the summertime blues, but
Yeah,
we didn't pick it out.
yeah. That great record by Blue Cheer, man.
Absolutely.
Uh yeah. Going back to Van Halen. Ralph Vieira would kill me for this count, but I gotta go 5150. That is a fucking
Uh,
summertime record right there. I mean,
uh,
I remember
Yes.
1986. This was playing out of everybody's cars, man, that summer. And you've got the song "Summer Nights" on it. Uh, Great one. And another one that I might get some hate for, but this album, I liked it when it first came out. Then I went through years where I didn't like it at all, but now I've gone back to where I somewhat like it. And that's the Turbo album from Judas Priest. There's some cool songs there, and you got a song called Wild Nights, Hot Crazy Days. There's a few salvageable songs on this record. I really love Reckless. That was a great tune. But yeah, yeah, man, you guys keep going. I've got about 4 or 5 more, but you guys
I was
do some and
thinking
we'll go back.
You keep going till you get to your last one because me and Ralph are
Okay.
last
Okay.
one.
All right. Cool. All right. Cool. All right. The White Snake '87 record. This is the year I graduated, and this record was just blasting out everybody's cars that year, and just Still of the Night, man. What a great song. Um,
Woo!
how
Give me
about
all your love tonight. That's my jam, my
watching
man.
what? Yeah, watching Tawny roll all over the Mercedes. I saw something where David Coverdale said that car wouldn't even start, but she made it look good.
Ah,
How about Blondes in Black Cars by Autograph? Another great summertime song. Told you guys I'm gonna talk about my hair metal on here, yeah,
yeah.
or glam rock. Um, Midnight Dynamite and Kicks. You got Cold Shower, another cool one, summertime
Yeah.
song. Going back to some Queen, Fat Bottom Girls. You got Bicycle Race on this one too. Fat Bottom Girls, great summertime tune.
Oh yeah.
And probably one of the greatest summertime songs written in that whole genre of the big hair days. Summertime Girls by Y&T is on the live EP here that came
I
Ralph
out.
pulled
pulled
out
out
this one.
Y&T.
I
Yeah,
pulled this out.
yeah,
And
that's
this.
got some good. Don't Stop Running, man. Yeah, good stuff, man. So I got my number one here. So it might be you guys' number one as well. I don't know. We'll see.
Excellent.
Well, you may have already mentioned it, but I'd say it's the ultimate summertime tune is on
I was
this
thinking
record.
Judas Priest. I was thinking Screaming for Vengeance because it's yellow and some yellow seems like summer to me, but it also has like a sun kind of thing. So I didn't think
Yeah,
Turbo. I thought that one.
we can have
So
Roundness. They got a sun on their album.
Oh yeah, yeah. Rising in the East.
Rising in the East.
so before we do our number ones, let's give Christian's picks because he couldn't make it tonight because he's still protesting against Sydney Sweeney. Um, Christian's picks are Thin Lizzy Jailbreak, Rainbow Rising, Santana Abraxas, Rat Dancing Undercover. I love that one. It's my boy in Connecticut picking the fucking good hair metal.
Oh
Ace
yeah,
Frehley
Potty Talk.
78 solo record.
Yeah,
I like that pick. That's a great. That's one of my favorite drinking albums, and it's up there with every one of the great classic Kiss albums for me.
yeah,
Love that one.
the best solo record.
So this one is one of my favorite drinking and smoking records. Corrosion of Conformity Deliverance. Oof. Great pick, Christian. Great pick.
Yeah,
Boston self-titled, just like our boy Tony Dio. Kansas Left Overture. Kiss Rock and Roll Over, just like our boy Tony Dio. That's
Wow.
also my favorite Kiss record too. Fantastic, not a bad fucking moment of music on
yep.
that. Captain Beyond self-titled. And also, like Tony Dio, he's going to mention Judas Priest Turbo.
Wow. It's such a weird topic that we picked, and then he picks three of the same albums as Tony that makes him think of summertime. That's pretty bizarre. I mean,
yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought a couple of us would say Van Halen or something like that, but that's bizarre that he picked out of all the Judas Priest, he picks that Judas Priest, and that's amazing.
That's because it's the happiest Judas Priest album.
Yeah, I guess. Man.
Yeah, it is.
You know, Count, I gotta ask, did you happen to pick Summer Breeze from the typo negative version?
No, because Typo Negative is definitely more of a fall, like October
Yeah, it
Rust and
is.
stuff. Come on,
It is.
that's like saying Dirty Black Summer with Danzig, but it's like, yeah, they're
Yes.
another October
I
fall
thought about
band. They're
that.
not gonna,
Yeah, I thought
they're not
about
a
that.
summer band,
It's really not a summer band. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. So we also got Ed Forsty's picks, and Ed gave us 10 classic summer songs that he loves. So from 10 to 1, we're going with Don Henley, Boys of Summer. Boy, I wish he was here so I could razz him over that one. That's a fucking long song. The Beatles, Here Come the Sun. Good tune. Crosby, Stills, and Nash, Woodstock. Chicago, Saturday in the Park. Mungo and Jerry, In the Summertime.
I was wondering if anybody was going to pick In the Summertime by Mungo Jerry. It's definitely a summertime
PLO,
tune.
Mr. Blue Sky. America, Ventura Highway. The Kinks, Sunday Afternoon. Loving Spoonful, Summertime in the City.
wow.
And Seals and Crofts, Summer Breeze.
Wow. I'm shocked on his picks. Like
Right?
he surprises me. He definitely likes a lot more normal music. Like
He
classic.
Ed likes the Eagles. I'm surprised he didn't have Hotel California in there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh,
That's a
wow. I
summer
didn't know
song.
Ed liked the Eagles.
Yeah, he likes
Cool.
the Eagles a lot. Yeah, I do.
Oh,
I do as well. Yeah, man, that's cool. Lots of cool
so
stuff
Count
there.
Ralphus, what's your number one?
Well, it's weird because I mean, like, all right, so I didn't do any of them in order really, but if I got to go number one, when I first thought of this, it was definitely Van Halen. I'm wearing the hat. I mean, that's the very first thing that came to mind. But even like David Lee Roth, California Girls, and you remember those videos? I mean, they were summertime videos, crazy from the heat and stuff like that. I mean, he's
Mhm.
all about summertime, that guy. But yeah, if I have to just go with a number one, but like I said, basically 1984 down, any one of those albums, and even a different kind of truth, any one of them with David Lee Roth is a perfect summertime album to me. So if I only have to pick one, that I would, I mean, I can't even pick one at maybe say Diver Down, just because it's one that most people wouldn't pick. I'll say Diver Down is like a summertime album. That's like one of the
Great, good pick.
yeah,
Yeah.
very uplifting kind of this happy album to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Fantastic pick. I am going to go, and again, I didn't pick any Van Halen because I thought we were going to have a full panel and everybody was going to pick Van Halen. I could have went from my top 10 could have been from the debut to Balance. That could have been my fucking top 10. I didn't pick certain bands that I lavish a lot of praise on here, like Black Label Society, Guns N' Roses, Metallica, Megadeth. There's albums from all those bands, Pantera, albums from all those bands that remind me of summertime. But I had to go with an album from a band that I do praise on here a lot, but an album that doesn't get a whole fucking lot of love, man. Down two, Bustle in Your Hedgerow. Um, this one reminds me of summertime because when it came out, I remember it was hot out and I was in a band at the time, and me and the singer both fell in love with this album immediately. And this is all we listened to that summer was this album over and over and over again, to the point where the stuff we were starting to write was sounding like down to material. um I don't love it quite as much as Nola, but this is still a fantastic album. They really let the Southern rock vibes come through in this one. It's a little less Sabbath than the debut and a little more Leonard Skinner. And I love that. There's Something on My Side is a fantastic song on here. I love Stained Glass Cross, which is a song that nobody fucking talks about when they talk about Down. That's a fantastic tune. Learn from This Mistake is a fantastic song about heroin addiction that I can relate to because my sister was a really bad addict and had passed away not long before this album came out. Beautifully Depressed, I love so much. The Seed, great song about fucking growing and cultivating and smoking marijuana. Fantastic fucking song. And I really like Dog Tired. Great tune. Good, heavy, kind of almost thrashy song on here. There ain't a bad moment of music on this. Down to Bustle in Your Hedgerow. This is going to be my number one. What do you got, Tony Dio?
Well, I can't say that this whole album would be summertime, but it has to me the ultimate summertime tune. And when you were a kid, you heard this, you knew school's out for summer
Ah,
from Alice Cooper.
nice.
I do like other songs on here too. I love Looney Tune and Gutter Cats versus the Jets is really cool.
Yeah, it's
My
a good tune.
Stars and Public Animal #9. Yeah, really cool. But School's Out. I mean, what a great song. I mean, that song is just known worldwide. People probably know it that have no clue what it is. I mean,
Yeah,
who the actual singer is. They know the song, but they don't know the performer. You tell them
yeah,
Alice Cooper, they go, it's kind of like Alice in Chains. Who is she?
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Almost,
definitely the
that
song
was,
to kick off the summer. Is if there's
yeah.
ever a song that kicked off the summer, it was that song.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
had that down
And
as my as an honorable.
yeah, it was really close to pick that one for number one or Summertime from Will Smith. You know.
No,
I
that's
think
before he was Will
I think
Smith.
I've told
That's
the story
DJ
before.
Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince.
Okay. Well, it is. So it is DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh
Yes, it
Prince.
is.
Well, yeah. Well, I'll still just call him Will Smith.
There you
So,
go.
yeah.
I've
But you
told the
know what I'm
story
talking about.
before. I told the
Yes.
story before, but I don't know when. I think we did an Alice Cooper episode a long time ago, but it was there was a kid a couple grades older than me, and he made a cassette tape of just that song on a loop. Like he just kept recording it over and over again. And in between periods on the last day of school for like 3 years in a row, you just would hear him walking around with this box radio, and the teachers didn't say nothing. They let him, and it's like it just made you celebrate. And then I remember like he like in like ninth grade, he moved to high school, and like then all of a sudden I went like 2 years where I didn't hear that at the end. It was like someone's got to fucking bring a box in and tape that song, because like he moved on, but so we didn't get it no more. But for like 3 years, that was the song to kick off summer too.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is.
So this was a fun episode. Thank you,
Well,
Tony D.
I got a couple of honorables I just
Oh, you
wanted to
got
go through.
honorables? Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, well, Alice Cooper was one, and going back to the drinking music and stuff, AC/DC. I mean, I picked "If You Want Blood, You Got It." Great one. And this one, Scorpions Worldwide Live. I picked this one because I just remember like in like '84 or so like that. It was like the summer. There's certain albums that you just remember getting played all summer, like Rush Moving Pictures. I remember one summer that being like the big album, and I remember Peace of Mind being a big summer album. It might not came out in the winter, but I was hearing it in the summer. And so even like Twisted Sister, even Aerosmith, it's like these bands are just like the great party bands. And later on, I would look at something like Thin Lizzy Live and Dangerous as like a fun drinking party night music. But the Doors, I grabbed this one live in concerts, like the double big box thing. And
Nice.
they're my wife's favorite band. So like when we'd be camping and stuff, like I'm not gonna play death metal and stuff while we're out in the woods tripping and stuff. So we put on stuff that we both can enjoy. So Pink Floyd and the Doors would be like one of the things that we both loved, and we would play them all the time because it's like you're tripping underneath the stars in the summertime. You're not doing that in the middle of winter. And yeah, David Lee Roth was the other band. Oh, and the Beatles, Good Day Sunshine off of Revolver, and Here Comes the Sun. I had written down, and I think yeah, that's it. That's it for me.
Yeah,
Cool.
Hammersmith's Face just isn't a good summertime song.
Earlier, I picked up Blizzard Beasts and Battles in the North. The two Immortal kind of was like the influence for this episode. But yeah, I didn't really pick too much of that kind of stuff. It was like all kind of party music, drinking fun
Yeah,
stuff.
party. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah, if we're gonna go,
Wango Tango by Ted Nugent.
Yeah, there you go. Any of that stuff, it's all fun. Even though he wasn't a drinking band, but like it was still fun drinking music, even though he wasn't drinking.
he
Yeah.
was a drinking band for me because I like to drink.
Yeah,
So like that,
Well, he didn't drink, but the rest of his band did.
right?
yeah. We were saying that
But that
about Kiss too. It was
self-titled
like
album,
Gene singing "Cold Gin" and stuff.
ooh,
Yeah, yeah.
that self-titled Ted Nugent, man. Oh, it's so many nights getting fucked up with my boys, listening to that. If
Snakeskin
we're go-
Cowboys.
if we're gonna go with honorable mentions, I'm going to go with I'm gonna mention the bands that I was gonna try to keep away from because I talk about them all the time. Metallica, the Black Album, that's a big one for me. That was a summertime album that just played it over and over again. Megadeth Countdown to Extinction is another one that was a summertime album for me that just got so much play. And Pantera Vulgar Display of Power is another one that I got in the summertime and got into when I got into Biohazard Urban Discipline. And that's another one where it was just like, man, it's just playing it over and over again. And getting into Pantera opened up so many doors for me with more extreme stuff. That's when I started to get into heavier bands like Fear Factory and Machine Head, and then eventually started hearing Cannibal Corpse and Deicide and Death and all that stuff. Kind of opened the door for all that. So those would be my three honorable mentions there.
How
What do you
about
got, Tony?
how about Ramones, like Rockaway Beach and stuff like that? You know, count you probably
Ralph
picked some of that.
Ralph
Yeah,
picked Ramones. Yes,
yeah, yeah. It's good, fun music. You know,
Yep.
for
absolutely.
sure. Yeah, good
Any
stuff.
honorables, Tony?
That was it. That's what I was just throwing out a second ago. Yeah,
All
pretty
right.
much.
So I guess we are done with the summertime jams episode.
Yep.
Stay
We gotta
tuned for
do it again
wintertime
for the
jams.
fall for sure. We gotta do
Yeah,
a fall
fall.
episode.
Fall
Yes.
ball. Fall ball right
Yes.
here.
Because there's definitely fall bands that I want to talk about that, and a couple of them we've already mentioned. So yeah, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Please comment. What are you listening to in the summertime? What are some of your favorite summertime albums? Because I'm genuinely interested. I want to know what you guys are listening to when it's hot outside. So yeah, leave comments, like, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. We are going to take off, and we will see you. If I could find where the stop recording button is, we will see you. We will see. God damn it, where is it? I feel like an old man. There it is. We will see you in a week. Good night, folks. Thanks for watching the Rock Fantasy Files.